Christian Horner has said he wants to come back to Formula One in 2026. He's finally been sacked officially, formally, whatever the hell that means, by Red Bull. And now he is ready to come back to Formula One. And now who knows, be a team principal, be a CEO, whatever the case may be, who knows. But let's have a look and let's discuss which 3 teams must consider Christian Horner in 2026. And I start things off with Alpine. Absolutely. The team that is beyond disgrace. The team that is disgracing the French nation. A team with a massive gap. Holes all over the place, both at the board level and driver level. Now, we know Pierre Gasly has extended his contract at Alpine until 2028. But the Colapinto, Jack doing of it all, and whoever else, what is going on there? They need some strong leadership. Now, we know Flavio Briatore is there. He's holding it down. But at the same time, like he's an unofficial executive, or it's a weird term that they've given him. Or he's like the advisor for Alpine, if you will. Okay, fine. We'll get advising Flavio, okay? And we know the relationship that Flavio and Christian Horner have. It's actually a pretty decent relationship. And I think it would make perfect sense if Christian Horner got in there, because you know what thing he will do straight away? He will iron out the stupid creases that are going on at that team. Alpine have been a joke for years, for decades, ever since Crashgate till now. It's a team I can't take seriously. And I know Flavio Briatore was very much involved in that scenario. But at the same time, Christian Horner would go in there and absolutely clean house. He would clean house. There is a massive leadership problem. There's a massive leadership gap. We've seen leaders come in there. We've seen team principals. We've seen CEOs. We've seen race directors, engineers, whatever the case may be. They've come in and then they've gone in a flash because of the underperforming Alpine. One thing Christian Horner will give Alpine is performance. He's proved it already. His CV, his portfolio speaks for itself. So there's no doubting at all that Alpine will succeed with Christian Horner. Now, of course, it comes with its chaos. Of course, it comes with its baggage. But I think when there's chaos at the camp of a team, and it not being caused by Christian Horner, I reckon he will go out there and sort that mess out. He will clean that problem. But when it's a situation that he's causing, look, we've seen what's happened at Red Bull. We know what the case can be. And of course, they're going to be very, very cautious, Alpine, with this. But it's a fresh start, 2026. Brand new regulations. You get Christian Horner in there. Now, I know that Christian apparently can't start with a new team until like 4 or 5 races in, which I think is a bit ridiculous. Who knows why? Maybe there's garden leave rules. There's lawyers involved. There's contract situation. Who knows? But regardless, it will still be a fresh start for Alpine if they can get Christian Horner in the door and get him working behind the scenes and begin to advise Flavio Briatore on what the moves should be. And I think Flavio and Horner will work well. Don't get me wrong, it's also got a recipe for just an absolute bomb site. Let's have it right. But at the same time, you're going to have to take these risks, because I don't even think Alpine can be judged for taking risks. I don't believe they are. I don't believe they're a team that actually are risk-taking in order to really push and become one of the best. I think they go for options that maybe safe, or it's a case of like, it might be a bit too French orientated. Now look, they've lost their power unit for next year anyway. They're not even running Renault engines, right? They're going to go to Mercedes engines. So we'll have to see, because the Mercedes engines at least is looking good. It looks like it's going to be a good customer server in 2026. But Christian Horner can go in there and at least now, with a brand new set of eyes, with a fresh team, nothing's quite similar as it was at Red Bull. He can decide to be like, right, here are the pieces we're going to put in play. Here's how we're going to get ourselves into the points. Here's even the people that he might even know, his contacts, his networking, the people he might even bring in, because Lord knows Alpine needs some help. So you never know what we could see in that scenario there. I'm looking forward to seeing how Christian Horner will do at the Alpine. Aston Martin, what about them? Now look, I know straight away off the bat, people are saying, whoa. Adrian Newey left Red Bull due to the circumstances that were going on at Red Bull, caused by Christian Horner and whoever else. Surely not, you're thinking. How on earth can Horner walk in to Aston Martin? Walk in and see Adrian Newey right there. But you see, that's the thing, guys. The partnership, the connection of Adrian Newey and Christian Horner. It's a match made in heaven. What these two did with Red Bull. Remember when they joined Red Bull, this pair, right? and they saved this team from the depths of hell when it was Jaguar, right? Brought them into at least. Now, in the beginning, it was very much circus driven. It was very much like, oh, this is just a party team, whatever. But as the time has gone on, as the years have gone on, and when we were watching Braun GP, especially dominate the early parts of 2009, you saw Red Bull slowly but surely get into grips with what was going on. And towards the end of that season, like, I don't know how many races Braun won in the second half of the season. I don't think they won many, but nobody was really talking or paying attention to Red Bull. They weren't really, they didn't really have their eye on it. And Sebastian Vettel was there and Mark Webber was there. And it became a very serious team very, very quickly and started dominating in Formula One very, 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 speedish. But there's so much potential at Aston Martin. There's so much going on there as well. They have got the facilities. The investment is insane at Aston Martin, like in a good way. It's so good. And if you're, Fernando Alonso left Alpine to join Aston Martin because, first of all, Alpine was a dumpster fire, but the potential of what could take place at Aston Martin was absolutely sensational. And we know, like, since the whole fiasco at Red Bull with Christian Horner, I've heard, now how true this may be, don't know, but I've heard that Christian Horner and Adrian Newey are still mates. They still talk. They had a relationship. They had a real tight connection. And that's just not something you just cut and lose over, the situation and the controversy that happened in from 2023, 24, and so on. Like, there is still a connection of some kind. Adrian, I think, just looks out for himself in terms of his career, and fair enough, he wanted to get out of something that was a bit horrendous. And I've known some people that have worked at Red Bull who have left, and again, it was like, yeah, it was probably good to go because it was just a bit too much. There was a lot going on, and it was just a bit too much. And that's fair enough. Everyone's entitled to have that opinion. The Honda connection as well. Remember, Red Bull were doing some dominant stuff with Honda for years. And Honda-powered engine will be in Aston Martin in 2026. Christian Horner will know these people. Adrian Newey already knows these people. And I know what you're saying. Look, Andy Cowell's there. There's a couple of other people that are in that team. And I'm not saying he has to be team principal as such, but he has to be there with a strong, dominant hand. And listen, Lawrence Stroll is ambitious. He's cutthroat. He wants to win by any means necessary. And I genuinely think that Horner, if he was to join, Lawrence Stroll and Horner's relationship could be tricky. It could be tricky. And I could see where there'll be a bit of pushback on that. But at the same time, I genuinely do think that if they're two strong alpha males, and I think if Horner kind of went on the approach of, look, let me take over this team and get you championships, if he tries and sort of spins it in that way to kind of stroke the ego of Lawrence Stroll, I think there's a part of Lawrence Stroll that might think, do you know what? What's the worst that can happen? I've tried all this other way. I've tried to do this. I've tried to do that. And it's not quite worked out. And Aston Martin at one point, they looked like they were getting up and they were ready to go. And then it kind of petered out very quickly. But now, a brand new set of regulations. They've got a new engine supplier. They've got space for growth, for potential. The investment is outrageous. The facilities are phenomenal. They're sensational. And they've still got Fernando Alonso, who's one of the best drivers in Formula One history. So it makes it almost a no-brainer, really, to marry the two. I think Horner at Aston Martin could look really serious, and just like I can just see it. I can just picture it. Horner in the Hugo Boss. I can just picture it. I can picture it. The third team, and probably the one which kind of reminds me of Red Bull back in the day, Haas. What about the Haas Formula One team? The reason I bring up this team, because this team is kind of nowhere, isn't it? It's kind of that P7 to 9, just being there, basically. And there's a part of me that reminds me of what Red Bull was like 2005, 2006, that kind of thing. I genuinely think Christian Horner could build Haas like he built Red Bull in the Formula One space. Like, there is so much potential. There's so much left on the table. There is so much that he could do. And this would be probably the one team that he could really own, if that makes sense. He could really take on that team and be like the lord and master of the entire team. And it's something that I think would definitely stroke his ego. I can't imagine him joining teams where he would be like second fiddle maybe a part of the pack. He needs a bit of the ownership. He needs the power. He needs the dominance. He needs to have leadership over these roles. And Haas is an open goal. Like, Ayo Komatsu's doing a great job there. Let's have it right. He's doing a phenomenal job. And there will be space for him to be there in a prominent figure, in a prominent role. But I genuinely do think that Christian Horner and Haas, where he can start from scratch and he can go and get a couple of pieces, get a few people that in the team that he could really build and create from. Honestly, the Haas potential is slept on. I know, like, in America now, the noise will be the Cadillac F1 team because, like, that feels like, well, now the Americans team. But Gene Haas, I mean, I'm sure, like, he's going to be thinking, hang on a minute, like, the amount of money he's investing in the team and the amount of money he's probably not getting back, he must be thinking to himself, no, actually, let me get some, let's get serious now. Let's actually arrive at the table and be serious for once. Let's actually challenge the front of the middle. You know what I mean? Like, at least something like that. And then slowly but surely grow. Like, by 2030, they can say, we are now among the top 4 teams in Formula One, trying to fight for podiums. You know, that kind of thing. Look, they've got 2 good drivers. I think Esteban Ocon is good, and I think Oliver Behrman, of course, bags of potential, is really good. And Horner would do, I think, quite a splendid job at Haas because of what he could read. He could honestly do it all again, given that time. I know he's about 50, I think 51. And if you gave him 10 years at Haas, I think Haas will be fighting for podiums by the time he's done. I genuinely think that. This is somebody who is Horner's no mug, he's very calculated, he's very clever, he's very sinister as well. He's sharp. He is sharp. And I think he will look at the Haas situation and the fact that it could literally become the Christian Horner Haas team. Honestly, I think he would bite at that chance. I think he would bite at the chance of doing that. So Haas is a great potential, in my opinion. And it's probably the team I want to see him at the most, just to see what he could really do. Alpine, yes, but because of Alpine's failings over the years, because of all the times where we tried to be dominant or they tried to get serious, because of all those things, I do struggle and worry that he could also fall in amongst the chaos at Alpine. So Haas is the one for me that I genuinely think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section down below. Which team is Christian Horner? Which one should he be at? And until next time, lights out.